Hey Jess, what are we doing today?
Today we are going to Coles and to the Asian grocery market.
Yes.
And we're going to buy ingredients to make kimchi. It's closed.
What? It's closed!
Because we are on a mission to make kimchi, not to
Seriously?
eat ice cream at Macca's.
Oh no! No! Our perfect kimchi trip! No way! When did it close?
1 hour ago.
1 hour ago. Sure.
So we will have to come back tomorrow and try again.
Yes. Alright, we came back to Asian market today on Sunday. Must be open now.
Okay, we are now finally ready to make our kimchi. We have all the ingredients that we need. So when we make kimchi, it has two main parts. First part we're going to make today is the sauce, and then the second part is the bachu. The sauce we need to make first and let it sit in the fridge for 2 or 3 days to let the flavours develop, and then we get to mix it later on. Let's start with our sauce. We may have 7 ingredients, so really easy. Our first ingredient is red chili pepper powder, and we need 240 grams, just like magic. Our next ingredient is fish sauce, and we need 240 mils of this. Next we have sugar. We need 120 grams of white sugar. Next we have umami seasoning. Now this is a new ingredient for me. I haven't seen this one before. So what could we use instead if we couldn't find this?
You will probably easily find them in Asian store, but if you can't find this exactly the same one, you can use a product called Miwon that is from Korea. Yes, and that does the same thing as this umami seasoning.
And so we need 2 tablespoons of this. So the last 3 ingredients we need is white radish, garlic and water. So we have white radish, we need 200 grams in one piece and roughly 200 grams in thin slices. As you can see, we've already prepared that. Next, our garlic. We're using fresh cloves of garlic today, but if you're using minced, you need 3 tablespoons of minced garlic. And lastly, 240 mils of water. Okay, so these are all the ingredients that we need to make our kimchi sauce. Really easy, 7 simple ingredients. I would have thought it was a lot more complicated, but actually it looks quite simple. So let's make it. So our first step is to cut our radish. We need to blend it, so we'll just cut it into smaller pieces so it's easier. Okay, we're going to blend our radish with 240 mils of water. And also our garlic. If you're using minced garlic, you can add it after we blend it, but we're going to blend it together with the radish.
That's 3 spoons.
3 tablespoons,
Yep.
yes. So you want to blend it until it's smooth. This looks pretty good now. Kind of looks like milk.
Or some kind of milkshake.
Okay, so we want to tip this into a big bowl. And then the rest is super easy. We just have to mix the rest of our ingredients in. So we have our chili powder, our sugar, radish, our seasoning, and lastly, our fish sauce. And then we just have to mix it all together. Okay, as we are mixing, we want to make sure every ingredient is really mixed well together. Just keep stirring for a little while.
You probably do it for 1 or 2 minutes. That's a lot of time, but
Feels like.
for good taste of kimchi.
Do we have to let it sit in the fridge for a few days? Why can't we just use it now?
More it sits, the flavor develops, and it kind of thickens a bit as well, I think.
Oh, okay.
And also it just settles down the taste of the chili, because if you just taste the chili, it's quite rough and maybe a bit bitter. But with the other ingredients, when it sits, I think it gets smoother and it brings deeper taste.
Okay, that sounds good. So I guess we'll have to be patient and wait.
Yes.
I think it is ready now. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks really beautiful. So we need to put in the fridge, shall we?
Yes. So now we have covered it. We're going to put it in the fridge. See you in 3 days. All right, it has been 3 days now. Our kimchi sauce has been sitting in the fridge. It's thickened up. It looks and smells amazing.
Yeah, it looks great.
So we are ready to do our last step of kimchi making.
So what is the last step?
Well, it's really easy. So we have our ingredients here. We have beetroot or lombok. We have some sugar and salt and water. And we're going to mix this with the beetroot to help it wilt and become soft and pliable for our kimchi. Our last ingredient to add is glutinous rice flour, which we'll mix with some water and use to thicken our sauce. Let's go! When you are cutting the beetroot, you can take the outside leaves off. These leaves are a bit tough and a bit bitter, so it's good to remove them before cutting up. So when you are cutting it, you want to first cut the core out, much like if you were cutting cabbage. And you can cut them into any size piece you would like, about bite size. Remembering that it will also wilt, so you want to cut it probably a little larger than what you would like your finished kimchi to be. I'm going to do the wilting sped up process. So we have 5 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of salt, and 4 tablespoons of water. Then we need to mix this together. So adding the sugar and the salt doesn't change the flavour of the kimchi at all, because we're going to rinse it all off before we mix it with the sauce. It's purely just to help speed up the wilting process. And we will let that sit for 15 to 20 minutes. Meanwhile, while our beetroot rests and wilts, we are going to make the thickening for our sauce. So to do that, we will use 1 tablespoon of glutinous rice flour and 120 ml of water. So we have already mixed these two together in the bowl, and then we are going to heat it on the stove top. You need to continue to stir it until it thickens, which will be when it boils. As soon as it starts to boil, it will thicken very quickly. So as soon as the bubbles appear, quickly take it off the heat. As you can see, it's thickened up quite nicely. Our beetroot has been soaking and wilting for about 20 minutes now, so we're going to rinse it.
So how many times should we wash?
To get all the sugar and salt off, so you probably want to rinse it and drain the water 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Feel the difference in the beetroot after we have soaked it. It's much softer and more wilted. So we're ready to mix our sauce in. You want to start with about 5 big spoons. It is always easier to add more, so it's good to start small. And you just use your feeling. Also add all of our thickening. Now we can use our hands to mix it all together. Add more sauce if it needs it.
Looks like it's going really well. Can I try one?
네.
and see what the taste like.
맛있습니다.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, it's good. Guys, it's so good. So there we go. We have now beautiful tasting kimchi on our hand. Yeah, let's try some.
Let's see what it tastes like.
That's really good. Tastes authentic. Can be a little bit spicy for you, maybe. Is
Little,
it? Yeah.
little bit spicy, but not too much.
Mm.
Tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very proud of
Yeah.
this.
So you think you could do this another time? Like,
Oh, definitely.
was it easy enough?
It was super easy. I reckon we could make it with my eyes shut.
You guys can try this at home. It's really easy.
Let us know how it goes. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See you.
안녕히
See you next
가세요.
time. 안녕히 가세요.